fact, while we're talking about politics, and I want to make sure I ask you about religion too, so we're just gonna spill it all, because one reason I try to steer clear of politics is because I'm aware of how extremely divisive it is at the
It
moment. I've
is.
got a couple of family members that I'm only half on speaking terms with at the moment
Yeah, I think
because they support Trump, and then I come along with they did support Trump, and I come along with my African American wife and my African American son. It's like I don't feel comfortable around you when you got that MAGA hat on. That's a white hood. So
yeah,
I've said it. It's out there, and that's another
yeah,
reason
I
why I
hear
steer
you.
clear of this, because I do have very very strong feelings. I went through one of the worst depressions of my life immediately after the election because something else happened at that same time within the 24-hour period that changed my life forever. Different podcast. But when it comes to being online and being an author, being a public figure, I've
Mm.
again and again encountered the advice of don't get political, don't divide your audience. And I understand, I see the wisdom in that, but at the same time, I see you not every day. You've got a great social media presence where you've been doing a countdown to the release of Angel Thieves. You've been providing great background information that you researched. The people that enjoy the book and then follow up and learn more about the things you talk about. But then when something comes up that I don't think should be, I don't understand that the folks that are on the side of pro kids in cages. I don't understand that argument. For me,
Right.
if you're still a member of the Republican Party post kids in cages, what are you doing? But
Yeah.
that's really political. So we want to speak out against this. We want to say, no, this is wrong. This should not be happening in my country. And I'm not on board with this. It's not okay. And you want to speak out. On the other hand, I wonder sometimes, like, if Donald Trump at this point hasn't convinced you that he's a terrible person by his own actions, what could I, the middle grade ninja, possibly say to you that would convince you that he's a bad person? And then I wonder if I'm just attracting the wrong sort of attention. What are your thoughts on what an author should do in our current political situation?
It's such a good question, and I think every author grapples with it. I mean, I think we all do. We don't want to offend anybody in our audience. I mean, I mean, I want the young MAGA hat wearing kids to read my stories. I don't want to offend them.
That's who most needs to
But
read it.
but at the same time, and up until Trump won, I really tried to keep my politics basically to myself. Although I've never made a secret of my liberal and progressive leanings. I mean that has just never been. I've never hidden that from anybody. I just for years just didn't make a big deal out of it. Although I did write a picture book biography of Lady Bird Johnson, so I think it's that might have
That it gave the game away a little bit.
given a clue. And of course, my friends and family know where I stand. But Trump changed everything for me. It's like I just I feel I have to be honest and try to be to resist as much as possible. For a long time, I had a picture of me with my friends at the Women's March. The day after his inauguration.
Did you have your kitty hat on?
Yes, on my Facebook page. I mean, I just refuse to be intimidated by him or his followers, and I think there's a lot of intimidation going on, and they might say the same thing, that we're doing the same to them, and that's a possible. I definitely have family members that I keep at arm's length, and they keep me at arm's length, so it's a trade out. But I mean, I don't think we can stand by, and it's been one of the most frustrating things that people in a position of doing something about Trump are idly standing by, and that is so frustrating to me. He over the weekend he tweeted he sent out 52 tweets, and just managed to insult and put down and make accusations that were crazy all over the place all weekend long. I mean, that's nuts. I mean, who does that? 52 tweets? And I mean, I don't, I'd have to give up eating and sleeping to come up with that much. But,
You're not trying to run a country.
yeah, right. So it really is a hard one. Like I said, I don't want to offend anybody, but I do feel, you know, what are we doing with our time in our life if we don't stand up for what we believe? What are we saying to kids, even if they believe something different from us? If we don't, if we don't serve as role models, I don't know and of course, it's kind of easy for me to say this because I'm, an older, and I'm not just embarking on my career, and this, who knows how much longer I'll get to do this. But I think it's important to take a stand and to shine a light on the darkness. I mean, that's kind of like my motto, that I feel like my responsibility is to shine a light on darkness, and certainly separating children from their families is dark. There is no light in that regard, and so I think even if it's via a story that's set in 1846, the fact that we're still doing it is heartbreaking. So yeah.
Yeah, I feel. We'll move on to talk about religion and be less divisive. But I did feel part of what was, I don't know, I'm dumb, I guess, but I remember being so hopeful. I actively campaigned for Barack Obama, and when he won, it was like a new country and 8 years of
I was
kind
so
of
proud.
pulling back a little bit as some of the shine wore off, and you're killing kids with
Yeah,
drones. It's a little bit less hope and change than what I was hoping for, but still,
right.
I felt like this is a safer country than it's ever been. It's okay now to be out and to feel at home a little bit more than maybe I had before. And
Right.
then this came along. So where do I live?
Right. It
And
was
I'm in
almost.
Indiana, bright red, where we've got we had Trump signs all around. Am I just surrounded by the worst possible people?
Well, I don't think all Trump supporters are horrible people. I mean, I really don't. I mean, I know that they had their reasons for supporting him. I remember when Obama was elected. I just felt so proud of our country, because I really didn't believe in my lifetime that I would see a Black president. I really I mean, I was hopeful, but I really never believed it. And so that was such a proud moment when I just felt fully American, like being able to say that this is what is possible for America, that it really is true, that no matter who you are, you can be the president of the United States. And then, Trump kind of made that whole old saying, no matter who you are, you can be the president, into something
Unfortunately, that's
totally
true.
different, that you could be completely inept, corrupt, you know, incurious, all of that, and lazy, and be president. I mean, it's kind of like it was like the polar opposites in so many ways. Um, so I'm hoping that, that the whole thing between the two is like a crisis moment for us to see, that not everything is as it looks, not everything appears to be what it is. And certainly one of the things that Trump has inspired is the, outing of white supremacy. And I mean, that was always there, but it was kind of hidden in the shadows. It was sort of pushed aside, and people were like, oh, that's just that's an anomaly. That doesn't really happen here. Well, anybody who has followed the Southern Poverty Law Center knows that those groups have been here all along. Those white supremacists, neo-Nazis, and all of that. They've been here all along. And one thing, if you can say anything positive about Trump, is that he exposed them. They came out of the shadows. So
Yeah,
they're.
no, I hope those folks
I mean,
keep their MAGA bumper stickers and their hats on for as long as
we
possible. I want
can't.
to know who they are.
We can no longer deny their existence. I mean, and I think there was some of that. I think there was some of like, oh no, I mean, it's like I said earlier, I think we have to shine lights. I think we have to tell the truth. It's not okay to continue to turn here in Texas to continue to pretend that slavery wasn't a driving force in the war against Mexico. I mean, that's the proof is there. It's written into the Constitution of the Republic of Texas, slavery is. And so, it was, it was a very stern Article 8 of the Texas Constitution clearly talks about slavery and its legality and how, it was actually illegal to be Black and free. Those two didn't, you might be freed by somebody, but that didn't make you free, not according to the law. So, I think it makes it more important than ever to tell those stories and to show that, we have this legacy and now Trump has shown a light on it and let's deal with it. That's my big hope for the future. And I think we can. I mean, I think it's in us as Americans to do that. And, and even boiling it down to little Zora, the little ocelot, the truth is, when I was researching her, I figured she would come from the Laguna Atascosa, which is right along the border of Texas and Mexico. And there are only about 50 ocelots down there. And if they put that wall through there, they'll seriously impact that population because they freely move from Texas to Mexico. So it'll be a travesty for them. And so it's not just us. It's not just people that are impacted. It's the wildlife. It's the butterflies. It's our very souls, I think. And I think people are illuminated by the way that they treat the natural world. I think we see something about that. And that wall is so antithetical to the environment, not just the what it symbolizes, but just, the physical impact it'll make on the environment will be big.
Hopefully it will never be built, but we'll see.
Fingers crossed.